Hi, I'm Guy,
Hi, I'm Troy. I had to unmute my mic.
Hi, I'm Chelsea.
and this is Geek Tank Live.
I was waiting to see the credits roll, and I didn't see anything.
That's because they don't make music, so I just rolled a title screen, and then there's no music, so.
We planned so well in advance.
We'll have to figure out why it's not doing the audio for us.
Right?
So, hey, it's a show.
Yay!
We got a show. Like and subscribe and eat tacos.
First one's more important than the second one.
Definitely. I love tacos. They're probably like my favorite food on this planet.
Right? Tacos are awesome.
God. Oh, man. So
Okay.
It's almost summer, and we've all been lamenting all of the conventions that have been kind of just devastated so far because, we can't be in big crowds right now. Colorado Anime Fest has already postponed until 2021. They decided to just not go through with the convention. So,
wow. Because normally this is the time that we'd be hitting conventions and getting interviews and covering stuff.
Right. So we're going to pour one out for all of the conventions that are toast.
But not on my computer.
We're going to pour one out on his computer.
Oh.
I'll pour one out over my computer.
And that works.
That's dangerous.
Into a glass. How about that?
All I got's tea, but I'll pour it out on the tea for all the computer ones that are
All right, guys.
missing. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about who's out. Somehow Whimsycon managed to make it in just under the radar.
Yeah, just under.
Yeah, that was actually they're kind of joking about shaking hands and getting people sick when I was there. Because some of us were paying attention, or everyone I know personally was paying attention, and we saw this thing coming back then. So we were a little hesitant about going to Whimsycon.
But that governor in Georgia just heard that it could be transmitted by touch.
Yep. He also found out how babies are made recently.
And that the sky is blue.
And that's when Dr. Science comes in and tells you, no, it's not blue. It just looks blue.
Here, I'll do my best impression. I just didn't know.
I didn't know.
Because as we all know, ignorance is the perfect excuse to get out of any kind of mistake.
No.
So here are the cons that have gone down so far.
Okay.
Looking through the list, I've got the first one that canceled right off the bat was Starfest 2020, which is May 1st.
Now, their date is still to be determined. They state that they've just postponed, not canceled. So
they're working with the hotel to find the future date that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Brent's here. Hey, Brent.
So supposedly Starfest 2020 will happen just at a later date.
Right.
I think that's the same for Denver Pop Culture Con.
Well, DPCC has moved itself to Thanksgiving weekend. That's going to be interesting.
My views do not reflect the reviews of Geek Tank. This is my own opinion. That is the dumbest date I've ever heard other than July 4th. That is so stupid.
I don't think they have much of a choice, so we'll have to see.
I don't know if they're going to get any guests. I don't know if they're going to get people there. I understand that people are in town, but the amount of Black Friday shoppers here and the amount of big families that don't celebrate Christmas that celebrate Thanksgiving instead, just, oh God, get away from the convention center. Just get out. If that's the problem, get out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that just about everybody is going to end up moving and just skipping 2020. I think that's what's going to happen is we're going to find out that there just were no cons in 2020 and everybody moved over to 2021.
It's really sad.
It is.
It really sucks because a lot of geeks use this as their social time, right? It's their summertime where they plan out to hop from con to con. This is why we have so many, and they start really early. They start in February, and we go all the way to November. That's a big con season.
It is. And we also lost Wild West Con. Wicked Wild West Con.
Are they going to reschedule, or are they officially canceled for this year?
They're just going to move on over.
Okay.
Okay, so this is where I'm on the wrong. No wonder I can't find it. Okay, so let's start the drum roll here. The first one that we lost was the powwow, the Denver March powwow.
Which is really sad.
The 1940s Ball and Boulder was canceled as well, and the Scottish Festival just announced.
All of the Scottish festivals for the year, as far as I have been told, because I'm part of a Scottish reenactment group, have been canceled. Everything except St. Bridget's, which is in September. It's a one-day festival they're trying to hold on, but that might be canceled going forward, depending on what information we get. But every Scottish festival this year, I was taking the year off. And so all of my friends are calling me the hipster of the group because I took the year off and then forced everybody else to. It's all my fault.
All the festivals.
Well, that's what I've been saying. I've been saying this was the year where I actually was going to start tabling again. And so I had set up, I bought a whole bunch of tables at a whole bunch of conventions. So this is obviously my fault. Clearly. However, that said, I think I'll actually have a comic ready for next year's tables. And I think they're just going to furlough all the tables to the next year's cons. So I've already paid for them, and I'll just be in 2021 season. And I'll actually have comics for 2021.
So in a way, you've given yourself a goal to aim towards, which is
right. I should be prepped and ready to go with books on table by 2021. So that should be cool. Wouldn't that be cool? So that's where we're at. So the first one that I've got on the list is the powwow. And then Colorado Anime Fest was that same weekend. This was March 20th, 21st, and 22nd. They went down.
They totally postponed until 2021.
Yeah. They just went on ahead and did that. Starfest, of course, is the next one on the list. And it's at May 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That one's canceled out, and we don't know whether they're going to postpone and move or whether they're just going to cancel completely.
Mm-hmm.
Then May 23rd and 24th was Wicked West Con. I've got that on there, too. So that's a thing. And then moving right along, DPCC, which has now moved. I'm going to actually edit it so that I know that it says that. DPCC.
July 4th weekend was already like a questionable weekend. Because for folks, I know, Emily and her husband were married on July 4th. So usually we celebrate with them for the holiday. We celebrate those outside.
You're watching me. You're watching us on YouTube and Facebook, huh? That's
woohoo!
Look at you.
You double dipping, Brent.
Are we like out of sync? That'd be cool if we were totally out of sync. Then I'd be like, "Hi, Brent. Hi, Brent."
Well, if we would need more talented younger guys if we were in sync.
That's true. We could dance.
Yeah.
Troy.
I mean, really, different from him. So okay, now we've got that one moved to Thanksgiving. Then I don't have anything else through July. YouTube's a little faster than Facebook, he says. That's fascinating. Huh, who knew? So we've got the Denver Con in August 14th, 15th, and 16th. Seems like the next big critter on the list.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't heard anything from Denver. But here is what I was just saying before. MechaCon New Orleans is MechaCon Omega, which that's the last of the MechaCons. And that was this year. And I haven't heard anything from them. I guess
maybe they'll reschedule. I hope they'll reschedule.
That's the end of it. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure that this is the end of it, but it's Omega. So that's my thought. But I know that MechaCon has been contemplating the idea of winding down. So it's kind of one of those things. It's like, is it winding down? Is it not? I don't know. Yeah. But either way, I wonder about those cons that are at end game. Some cons we're about to do, the Swan Song and leave. And that one makes me think about that. Denver is the 14th, 15th, and 16th. Then we have NDK September 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And Guy, what's the deal with that? Because I know a lot of people have asked me, and they've asked the con chairs. I've always thought, like, listen, it's a ways out. Maybe things will be okay by then. We got to wait on the hotel. So,
and that's where we are as well. I mean, then we figure it's still far enough out But and this is, by the way, not something that the board has talked about. This is just something that people who run cons do. So this is not official word from the directors. I'm telling you that now.
Sure.
But one thing to consider is it's not a good idea for cons to cancel, because if they cancel on the venue, then they're on the hook for the money that they put into the venue. And it's up to the venue to be nice and return the money or not. But this is a game that we kind of play with the venues. And that is that, if you cancel before the venue does, then you have to pay whatever is the cost, $100,000 or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
If it becomes an act of God, that's in the clause. That's in our contracts. So act of God is coronavirus, and so that works just fine. You can cancel out, and neither party is the worse for wear, except that the venue, of course, doesn't have anything scheduled that weekend, and they lose revenue. So there's, it's a chess game I know that's going on. Now, I haven't talked to anybody because I've been too busy just lying low here. So I don't know. I mean, I know that we will have a lot of meetings if we decide to cancel, and we haven't had any of those meetings yet. So.
Well, and then here's another big thing that I would like to mention that a lot of people have been furious over, because I've had my concert's been postponed for BTS. And while it's upsetting that, we can't go do the fun thing we wanted to do when we wanted to do it, it's better for us all to be safe when we're going to a venue that fills 60,000 people into very small spaces that they cannot social distance.
Right.
A lot of people were upset with like Ticketmaster and other ticket providers because they weren't doing refunds right away for postponed shows, because a lot of people are just like, screw it, I'm staying in forever. I'm not leaving my house this year. I don't want to deal with it. Wait, chill, relax. You have to remember that there's a lot of moving pieces behind the scenes that you don't see. And a lot of times when big venues like Ticketmaster and StubHub and whatever else you're using get your money for tickets months in advance, that money is then distributed to the owner of the band, to the stage makers, the lighting guys, the tech crew, the moving people, the airlines that are taking these people on the road, or the buses, whatever that may be. That money is gone as soon as tickets are sold. And yes, whatever company that you bought it from might have a little cut of that ticket, but who knows how much that is? So in that case, you have to be patient for them to reschedule the concert or cancel, get that money back and settled, and then get that refund back to you. Mm-hmm. So instead of taking the usual 2 to 3 days by the federal credit requirements in the US, because you can't just get it back immediately. That's against the law, actually. It might take 30 days. And you should not be depending on getting that money back ASAP.
Right.
So I'm seeing a lot of people not be patient with conventions or concerts that they bought tickets for in advance. And now they're like, chill. Take a breath.
Yeah.
Talk to them and be reasonable given the circumstances, because maybe they can honor your badge next year, or maybe, they're able to refund it 2 weeks before the convention would have happened. You know what I mean? Right. We got to be patient. We have to be understanding.
Brent comments that tabletop events is one of those that had to close down because of COVID-19. And I think he's referring to the same problem.
Well, they were in the middle of it, I think.
Yeah.
That's one of my friends was at that convention. We were there, we were already exposed, we were together in the same germ bubble. So we just kept in touch to see, it was very, And speaking of tabletop events, there is an event coming up May 23rd through the 25th. It's a virtual convention called Con of Champions by Tabletop.Events. I know Dustin, who DMs our Star Trek game, and who runs, oh gosh, I'm so sorry. I don't know his company name off the top of my head. I think it's Rocky Mountain Games.
Isn't it Shiny Garden?
Well, he's part of
Rocky Mountain Games is the one he works on. Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
just generally
So Rocky Mountain Games is going to be part of that convention as well. So I'd like to shout that out because he is one of our sponsors. But you can sign up to play games online. They've got a bunch of games on the site. They're asking for people to scan stuff in if they can, using Tabletopia, Tabletop Simulator, Roll20, Fantasy Grounds, Skype, Zoom, Discord, or any other online platform to run your favorite games, and to submit things that you want to run as well. Their current convention website, let me share this tab with you because we can do that now.
Yep.
Where is it? Let me share this with you guys. I have to wait for the guy to approve it.
I like the fact that it.
Aha! So here's
like,
their website.
This is actually horribly useful. Look at that.
Mm-hmm. And they have a Discord server that's going to start as their basic meeting point. They're raising money, it looks like. I'm not sure if they're going to donate that to charity or not, or what's happening.
Or they're just going to use it to run their con because.
Or they're going to use it to run their card. Yeah, who knows? A lot of conventions also are nonprofit. Some are not. It really just depends on their model. So do keep that in mind as well. You know, some conventions literally cover their costs to run year to year. Let's see how much a badge is.
Yeah, I've got a short list I found of virtual conventions. I didn't see that one on it. But some are free and some aren't, I'm noticing.
So it's as little as $2 up to Jesus,
$7,000.
Oh, wow. Okay. It looks like you just get to register events a little bit earlier if you pay a little bit more and you're supporting a little bit more, and you get little badges. So super cute, fun idea. You can go cheap, you can go a little bit more if you have a little bit more. Just do whatever feels right for you. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing this now.
Yeah, if you do decide to do a search for yourself to find any of these, it looks like the best way to search for them is calling them virtual conventions. Because if you try to look up just conventions online, you find things talking about conventions that are listed online that you can go to, as opposed to online conventions.
Right. Brent, are you okay with me sharing some of the things you're posting up here? Yeah. Say yes if you are.
You should put our sponsors in the little ticker on the bottom.
Put what in the ticker on the bottom?
Our sponsors in the little running dialogue.
Oh, okay, cool.
The banner.
Thank you, Brent.
Gotcha.
So Brent's saying that. While we're at it, I'm going to shout out to Andrew, who's here too, who just said "baby, bye, bye, bye." But that's all right.
That's the NSYNC comment.
I know but it was funnier to. Mm-hmm. I'm easily entertained, is what I am. That's not a bad idea. Who are our sponsors again?
Your mom.
Right. Oh my God. Do we have the sponsor banner? Or are we doing this on the fly?
Sponsor. It depends on whether I misspell it.
Oh.
Bye.
I'm pretty sure it was geekwayhomes.com.
There it is. Oh my goodness.
Brett knows.
There we go. Perfect. Done.
And then while we're talking about things online, I just wanted to bring this up because I've been working back and forth about a Kickstarter.
That's kicking starts.
That's kicking starts. I've been away just because of work stuff, so I do apologize on the lateness about this, but I do want to get this up. So I was talking to, oh, I don't know if he said I could use his name or not.
It rhymes with.
It's going to be really hard to rhyme with. Anyways, I was talking to
We have a private chat. You know that, right?
the media of the Inkblot, and they are running a Kickstarter coming up. It's called the Exalted Vales Region and Campaign Guide. And the Exalted Vales is a comprehensive 250-page rulebook for D&D. And this is for the 5e edition. It contains the campaign setting and an epic adventure set within called A Shadow Among Them. And this was just from a small group of professionals who wanted to have fun. They like themes of mysticism and what happens when, mystical things are part of everyday life. And so these adventures are unfolding in cities which thousands of pilgrims flock to every day in the hope of being received by a blinded oracle who can bring enlightenment with a single sentence. So really interesting settings. And what happens when concepts like dreams, fertility, or loyalty become physical manifestations that will walk among mortals as living beings. So they do have an option to download the first scenario of the adventure for free. I'm going to put this in the private chat so you can put this in the public chat, Guy.
That's me.
And I'm also
chat
the
public
Kickstarter.
Poodly boop. Putting it into the poodly boop now.
And we're going to notify me online.
Error has occurred. It has not occurred. Okay, well, that doesn't make sense.
It is still coming soon. They said they were probably about 4 weeks out by this time. Let me just see if I can.
Okay, so Rocky Mountain Geek Tank is Troy, and Troy's doing it.
Perfect. Okay.
Yeah, how do you? Yeah, Brent's like, how do I get in on the private chat?
I have to be in the.
Wait. I could show you on screen, though. There. How about that? I'm easily entertained. So, for those of you who are wondering, what's this all about? Well, we have discovered, that we can use StreamYard to do all of this stuff, which is way, way awesome. Ah! Okay, I'm done. Well, all of us are RMGT.
Yeah, so if any of us posts in the Facebook thing, it comes
it automatically says Rocky Mountain Geek Tank. Yeah.
Yeah. So normally you can say, but it's not letting me switch it to just me.
Well, and it's okay. So Troy is running our webpage right now, which is good because I can't seem to broadcast out.
You can't do too much at once.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see it says an error occurred, wait a moment, and then try again. I tried again. It says an error occurred, wait a moment, and try again. Oh, so whatever is going on, I can't broadcast. So
weird.
There's that. So I'm glad that Troy is handling the actually going to Facebook and putting it up on the Facebook.
Yeah, so that's why you'll see me look over here because I have my second screen up over here. I can't type on the screen. I'm here with Chelsea and Guy, so I can see what people say here, but I can't respond to it here. So I have to respond to it over here. So
which makes sense.
Yeah.
Apparently, I can't respond either. So yay! There's that. I don't know. Well, let me see here. Oh, hey, let's try this.
So I actually have an interview that I posted a bunch of questions to the Exalted Vales media folks. English is not their first language, so they went ahead and sent me a bunch of things that I will go ahead and read over and then post for you guys. If you have any additional questions, please do let me know. I'm happy to reach out to them. They're really sweet people. The biggest thing about this project is it's a really small labor of love. About 6 people, it looks like. It started with 2 and then kind of expanded out from there. And so they basically, these 2 friends, Renaud and William, started with an epic campaign that they wrote and played. Renaud is a lead game designer, and William published a few illustrated books for children. And it sparked the idea to start sharing this story. In comes Jonathan, who's a very talented artistic director who worked with Renaud for years, and he joined the project to keep the quality up. And this is the core team. And then they contacted and recruited several artists for the future illustrations on the book. And it just looks really, really pretty from what I've seen on my end. I've seen a little bit of their Kickstarter just to see what they were kind of looking at. And it's just 1 book, I believe. that has the setting and then the campaign itself in one story, just because I wanted to kind of keep costs down, especially because those books are so expensive.
Right.
But I'll go ahead and get this interview up so you guys can see everything that I had asked them. And if you guys have any questions, do let me know. Again, I'm really sorry. I should have gotten this up way sooner. Everything's been crazy.
I am definitely a figment of Troy's imagination.
On my end.
Yeah,
So,
and that's totally it's okay. This is a volunteer job.
I just want to, like, when we get media stuff like this, I definitely want to get it out as soon as possible. It's just like my work and I have been on different levels of communication to the point where I have to over communicate them, but keep it as simple as possible for things to get done.
Right.
And it's been taking a lot of my time where I just don't have any time to deal with anything else. So that's on me. I'll get this out for you guys. I definitely want you to see it because it's definitely very cool. Very pretty. Very exciting. I have notifications on when this comes out so I can grab a copy just because I like to support projects like this. And I definitely always like to add to my role-playing library. And I love mysticism. Voodoo.
You're mystical.
All the fun stuff.
I did learn how to post down here because I can select where to post. And apparently the error is only coming in from me posting to YouTube.
Oh.
So as long as I'm not posting to YouTube, but only posting to Facebook, I can post.
Oh, and this has new races and classes.
Racism.
You can learn how to be racist?
Classism.
No.
You learn how to be
Well,
classist.
racism classes. Take driving classes to learn how to drive.
You could, yeah, I'll teach that class.
Racism class? Okay.
Yep. That's how to race.
There he goes. There goes speed racist. Right. Oh.
Oh my god.
He's a terror on wheels.
Totally.
You know, I always think about those. I mean, just as a side note, you ever thought about the original like songs for that they redubbed for all of the anime in the early days, and you're like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
It's like you didn't watch the show before you composed this music, did you?
Oh my.
They just try to find words that fit the rhythm since
Right?
different syllables when you translate it.
And they're like, kids will just kids don't care. They don't realize that 40 years later we'll be like, wait a minute.
I have a lot of problems, and I should say that this is my own personal opinion. Again, this does not reflect the reviews of the rest of Geek Tank or opinions or anything like that.
I gotta change banners if you do that.
I have to put that up there to say it. I don't like dubs. I never have liked dubs. They say it's an easy and more accessible way, but you can read. It's not that hard. I tend to like to watch things multiple times. So I will usually watch them with the subtitles first and then go back and watch the episode to see if there were things that I actually missed while I was reading subtitles really quickly. And dubs usually don't have the full context, but subtitles don't either. There's no perfect world here, but I would rather hear the original language that a piece was created and lovingly made in than switch to my own.
Say this right after Brent posted something about this. I'm just saying.
I didn't even read the live comments. I'm not even on the.
So you're saying you watch it multiple times, so you watch it in.
No, he tagged me in Consolation 2020.
I was talking about Chelsea. You said you watch them multiple times, so you watch them in stages. So at a certain point, there's a dub step to.
Yeah, at some point, there's a redub.
A redub.
You know, no, I don't watch dubs because I'm sorry, like I just don't like that there are only 6 voice actors that certain companies will ever choose. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't, you can message me privately. But if you have only 6 voice actors doing all the work, A, that's unfair to all the people who want to do voice acting. B, you get the same voices all the time because you know those people and you know their voice inflections and that kind of thing. C, you're not hearing the original language, which I think you should. because you should be out of your comfort zone a little bit. And I think all languages are beautiful to listen to. And so I want to listen to them and read subtitles and maybe learn another language.
This reminds me of an argument that a guy and a friend of ours had, and I never went back because it didn't really matter to me that much because it was their argument, not mine.
You had no dog in the race?
No, and so I'm like, hey, I've got the internet. I can look it up now and see who was right. But we have a friend named Jeff who loves Trigon, and he was swearing to Guy that there is no Japanese version dub of Japanese original language of Trigon because it was originally dubbed. So it's not dubbed; it was English to begin with. I believe Guy was like, well, no, that can't be right because it is a Japanese anime, so it had to be Japanese first and then dubbed later. And I have no idea. And I'm like, oh, I can look it up and just see now, and I'm not finding anything.
Dragon.
It's rough to have those conversations sometimes with people, but there's this beautiful thing called you can change your mind with evidence.
Yeah, because it's
not
like
everything's black and white.
Dragon is a Japanese manga series written and illustrated by Yashihiro Naito. The manga was serialized in Tokuma Shoten's Shonen Captain in 1995 with 3 collected volumes, and when the magazine was discontinued, and then until the magazine was discontinued in '97. So both manga were adapted into an anime series in 1998. Madhouse animated the TV series, which aired on TV Tokyo from April 1st to September 30th. Totaling
so Japanese.
TV Tokyo. That's definitely, and then Madhouse is an animation company there, so we're pretty straight up on that.
Original language, Japanese.
Yeah.
Bomb.
Its demographic is shonen, and yep, so it was put onto Adult Swim. Part of this is that there's an entire culture of people that got introduced to anime through Adult Swim, and so they feel like a lot of that is based solely on that. And to be fair, prior to Adult Swim, really anime was just a mangled mess all the time. Anytime it came over here, you'd end up with the weirdest crap ever. They were cousins. Anyway,
well, and through Adult Swim, through Toonami that you're talking about, that's how I was introduced to anime. We basically got from what I remember, this is just me remembering things I actually watched and not looking at the list. I watched Cowboy Bebop. I watched all of Inuyasha.
All 792 million episodes.
So many episodes. I watched Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yay, Yusuke Hakusho.
Did I say Cowboy Bebop already?
Yep.
Probably.
Yeah.
And then my favorite show. Cyborg 009, which no one really remembers, but it was really, really good, and I loved it so much, and I still love the ethical dilemma about pulling people out of time and making them into cyborgs and waking up in the future, and Black Ghost is a bastard. One thing I did hate, though, was the one female cyborg was really whiny, and she took care of the baby cyborg, 001, and that's dumb, but the manga was written in, like, the 1940s, so you just got to go with it.
Even Cyborg
have,
mothering instincts, I guess.
Well, and of course, you've got, like, I started out with Maha Go Go Go, which we were just talking about, Speed Racer. Mm-hmm. But of course,
also Rurouni Kenshin, and what's the drifting show? Initial D. Sorry, I just remember those two. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, though.
No, actually, that's totally fine. Initial D. See, these are all ones that I've seen. The newest wave I haven't seen.
I love that theme song so much.
Well, and we recently posted a poll out on Geek Tank's page about the best anime openings. And I always feel like the best anime openings is from Taiyo Chaozo, which is You're Under Arrest.
Mm.
And I just loved the first opening, if nothing else, because at the time I was so enamored with animation in general.
Mm-hmm.
And Kyosuke Fukushima is the guy that makes the anime or the manga. And he's such a detailed artist. when he like would show like the police car with the hood open, and you could like count the spark plug wires coming off of the engine, and they're in the right place, and it's like this the
attention to detail.
The beautiful manga is so gorgeous. Yes. No, nobody's taking the wine out of your hands.
Fight me. I can do what I want.
Right? Like Andrew was talking about Scryed, right? Now we were talking when I first got into anime. Of course, when I first got into anime, it was 1986, and it was Robotech, which I didn't know was anime at the time, and Voltron, which I had no idea was anime at the time. Those were the first two that I got into, and in 1988, I was shown Macross Do You Remember Love? And people were getting beheaded, and there were people getting squished by big mechs, and it was brutal. And I was like, and that was like, it was, wow. It was like an insane thing. And that was the moment when I really made a shift. I realized that they were much more brutal in there. And the next one that came in after that was Ranma and things like that.
Oh, Ranma 1/2 is so cute.
And it was playing at the time. It was live. So when I joined the Dai group in 1991, that was what was playing. That was going on TV in Japan.
I wonder about Ranma 1/2 if it came out a little bit later, would it have talked to people struggling a little bit with identity in particular a little bit more? Because Ranma 1/2 is he's a boy until hot water is thrown on him and then he turns into a girl?
Cold water turns him into a girl.
Cold water turns him into a girl, and then hot water turns him back into a boy. So he can live both lives as both genders.
I'm pretty sure it's the other way around, because that way you get the hot tub scenes with him as the girl.
Nope.
No?
He fell into Nanichuan.
The cursed spring.
Spring of drowned girl.
Yep.
See? Now you girl. Yeah. So, Brent, Genlock is Rooster Teeth. So that's American. And there's now that's an entirely different culture. That's like something to talk about, which is, what do you call American anime? I mean, like Castlevania is another good example.
Oh, Castlevania
is coming out in Netflix, animated for us. It's in English.
And it's so good.
And it's really, really good, but it looks like 1990s style anime. I mean, I walked in and I was like watching, because my wife was watching it, and I was like, what is this? And of course it's dubbed, and I'm like, it's a dub. And she's like, well, that's because there's no Japanese version. And I'm like, really? And it's Castlevania. So Genlock I consider to be in that same era. Rooster Teeth started with Ruby, and Ruby is most definitely
I haven't seen
Ruby is definitely an anime clone, if you will.
My problem is it's digital animation. It's that weird. I don't like the animation style. I should just say that right. I get motion sickness from it.
Right, because it's a little too active.
Yeah, it's too much for me.
But that's a different thing. I mean, we got that with
personal preference. Honestly, it really is. And I've always been that way. Like, there are certain mangas that I would not read because it was too much for me. But I read a lot of sports anime still. I read Prince of Tennis. Oh,
Prince of Tennis is awesome, though.
I love Prince of Tennis so much. Like the volleyball girls. I read a freaking Mahjong manga and then watched the anime as well. And it was so good. But trying to learn the rules was brutal.
Well, trying to learn the rules of Mahjong is insane.
Well, and they're putting them at the bottom of the screen. So when she makes that final, she grabs the tiles and plays it, you're like, what just happened? And then there's a little description. You have to pause it and you have to be like,
oh, no, I know what happened. And Raph was saying that he says that it's anime. And, and that's the thing, right? Because, I'm a manga style artist, and put out a cover today that I'm actually very pleased with because it actually really does look like it was shonen. Looks like a shonen anime.
Well,
Like
how many manga style artists are there now? How many anime and manga style artists are there from the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s who started watching this because it was finally starting to get more consumable?
And so I feel like, I mean, whenever we talk at the Sakura Festival about this, we talk about the manga style artists. Oh, I think you're right. And I think that that anime and manga have now grown past their native country.
Mm-hmm.
So to answer your question, Brent, I mean, it's Genlock is considered anime in the same way that Ruby is considered anime, in the same way that Castlevania is considered anime. I think that it's just no longer confined to being from Japan. I think the Japanese might disagree with me.
I like that Andrew also brought up the point. It's like his intro to anime was a pirate copy of a subtitled version of S. Cryed back in 2001. Like, it was not easy to get this stuff for a while.
Yeah.
I know for you in particular.
Like K-pop and J-pop, which K-pop and J-pop I feel like are in the same vein.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're no longer J-pop, it's extended out to K-pop, which has taken it to a different level.
Well, and you have the Chinese version as well, and you have the Taiwanese doing their own version of that pop. And that's why so many people got upset with, what's his name? He's so not important. Simon Cowell. He said he was going to make the next K-pop group in America. And everybody was like, shut up and sit down.
Yeah.
Now, please.
And that's the
K-pop band.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that America has never been a consumer of idol groups.
Mm-hmm.
And what you really need is you need that the ability to take an idol group, Morning Musume, AKB48.
Oh my God.
You know, and you know, things like that, which were the core idol groups
Girls' Generation.
that started Girls' Generation, and then you ended up with Blackpink, and then you ended up with, you know, the extensions out, which then leads us to BTS, of course.
Yeah.
And you know, all of this stuff has got.
They're getting bigger here now too, which is really, really nice. Like ATEEZ are going to perform here, Monsta X, and mind you, Monsta X is a big group. EXO is a big group. I know, even as a BTS fan, like EXO, respect. Don't start fights, please, guys. Come on, we're all K-pop fans. Blackpink, Twice, freaking solo career. Come on, like. I love it so much. I love music. I love media. I love getting media, especially from places that I don't live, because it gives you a different perspective. It puts you about outside your comfort zone. It gets you to look into their culture, their history, what these people have been through, their language. It inspires you. So many people. And I remember this for a long time. You know, you get the weeboo status, right? Where you know like 15 words in Japanese and you're really trying, but people are just being assholes to you. And that's my one for the show. Like,
weeboo is the first Boy Scout thing, right? Or Cub Scouts. You're a weeboo in Cub Scouts?
I think, what?
You said weebo status?
Weeboo.
Oh, weeboo. So
yeah.
I like Cub Scouts.
Where you're treated as this other because like you love this stuff, but you're not from there. So you're still an idiot. Like, you're cute. Aw. Like, we really need to stop putting each other down for like loving things and finding a love of history and culture and artistry and clothing and language.
That is.
Yeah, that's flickering real bad. I don't think you can.
I don't know. I didn't mean to
start a video.
I didn't mean to start a video, but I wanted to stop flickering.
Oh, well, I mean, you probably shouldn't put up the late show because that's copyrighted.
Well, I wasn't intending to. I was intending to reference it. Stop! There we go.
We're going to get copy striked.
Well, you can't hear it.
He wanted to show a picture of Blackpink.
No, it's Girls' Generation on David Letterman.
You can play like 2 seconds.
Right?
And this was for the first time in like how many years?
So it was like, but what I love about this was later on, we get back and you've got like over here you've got like
freaking Bill Murray's
Bill
reaction.
Murray and Regis Philbin trying to figure out what to do with these girls.
What do you do? Who knows?
Right?
Oh my God.
And they're like, well, I have a football? Why do I have a football?
And of course, later on, Bill Murray goes on to make Lost in Translation.
Yeah. So anyway.
Well, after that.
Wow.
This was last year, I think, right, Guy?
I thought David Letterman was no longer on.
Why am I sharing Flonase from
Do you
you?
remember?
Because every time I see that commercial, I think of Esco Flonase.
Troy, since Guy and I took over for a little bit, what was your first anime exposure?
Oh, well, let me share that with Guy because I've been collecting those right now. So actually, I think the first one, because these all happened about the same time, was
Donald, is it okay for me to share your question on screen? Say yes or no. Yeah. So go ahead, Troy. Sorry.
So I think this was the first one because they were all about the same time, and it was called Battle of the Planets, which when you're a kid, that's what you know it as, is Battle of the Planets. But that wasn't its original name, which you don't find out until later in life, or if you're me.
Right.
I'm so curious.
And Seven Zark 7 and the dog were added on later.
If you look closely, you can definitely tell that's not the same art style. And I figured it out when I was really young because there'd be this building full of people working. Rockets go flying and explode. The building crumbles, and then it cuts to the underwater base with the robots. So I'm like, oh, thank goodness, all those people got out of the building in time. I'm like, I don't think they did. So they added the robots to make it acceptable for American television because you can't have that much death on American television at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Boy, how things have changed.
So Donald puts out there, do you think with anime that some really good book series could be done well, like Magician Apprentice series, Vorskin series, Vorskin series, Dragons of Pern, or even Honor Harrington? I have to tell you, the Honor Harrington, the books Honor Harrington in Japan are awesome. They are adorable, except that they make Nimitz look like a little fluffy cat, which I don't really think that, Nimitz is a fluffy cat, but it works. So it's a thing that's interesting, and I'll share that. What do you guys think? Here's
my take on it. And Troy and I might have similar opinions because we're both directors. I like to world build. But when you get big series, they're very hard to condense into the time frame that you are usually given to make a series. So let me just take a big context for you, an easy context for you. Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban is probably the turning point book in the series where it goes from a children's book to a teens, young adult book where there are a lot of dark motifs, there are more complexities, there's a lot going on. You could not get through that whole book in the movie. Alfonso Cuarón tried, but he missed a lot of key details that I was very upset about, and I'm sure other people were too. But the fact of the matter is trying to fit all of that content or spread it out enough to make into a series or a movie is extremely difficult because you're dealing with a lot of content generally, and you can't fit in every little thing all the time. Not in a span of 2.5 hours, or even, as some shows are with commercials, 45 minutes. It's very, very difficult.
It depends on the run you're going to get too, because I think most Game of Thrones book fans would agree that if they weren't limited in the amount of time that they had to cover the series, they could have covered it all. It's just you have a different eye for when you're doing that. That's why they have screenwriters. So you take the book and then convert it over to what looks better on screen than what reads better.
Right.
When you read something, you've got your own personal image of what the Lannisters look like or what the Starks look like. And then when that's cast, you're either going to be happy because it's close to what you thought they would look like, or you're not happy because it looks very different from the way it was described in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it really comes down to it because and something that they did with The Walking Dead and they're doing with The Boys, and I wouldn't be surprised if they do this with they're got the go for Sandman, for Neil Gaiman's Sandman to be turned into a live action.
He's writing it.
He's writing it.
The best. He's writing and producing, which means it could like. Sorry to interrupt you, but Good Omens was pretty much line by line the book, as close as they could get.
Right, because they didn't have enough time to cover the whole book.
Exactly. But yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But they like Walking Dead's diverted from things. Things happen different and sometimes drastically different in the TV show than they did in the book, the comic book. And at first I didn't like that because I was looking forward to seeing a live action version of it. But then the great thing is I can't predict what's going to happen, which I love that about it. So what you're seeing now was the other anime that I saw about the same time, Galaxy Express 999, which is actually a movie that's based off of an anime series, and the anime series wasn't here though in America, but that movie was on HBO.
Right.
Oh, nice.
So
yeah, Guy, this is one of Guy's favorites, so I'll let Guy take
Oh,
it.
I love Leiji Matsumoto. But there's a couple of other questions that came in on that same topic before we switch back to this. Transformers. So the original Transformers G1 Transformers was in fact created in Japan. In fact, when I was over there, I picked up a few G1 Transformers in their original names, like Optimus Prime is called Convoy and things like that. So they're in their original form, but they're the same critters. And in fact, the masterpiece, the M series of those is all from Japan. They're still Takuya toys. So Transformers counts as an anime, certainly, because G1 was all anime. Everything past G1, of course, was all done here. So it's kind of hard to kind of go with that.
American animators were learning from Japanese animators how to do better action in cartoons. I mean, we finally got Dragon Ball Z on the WB channel, which my brother and I would watch every morning. And
Sailor Moon. We got Sailor Moon.
Yeah.
Sailor Moon came over.
Started to kind of see that transition of where Japanese animation led the bar and American animation followed and learned these techniques of how to draw action, how to draw magic, and things kind of exploded from there. And everybody kind of figured out their style, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's a definite move. I do at IndieK, I do a panel on the history of anime and where it's evolved and how it's evolved. And it's like a thing that, because I'm fascinated by the history of it.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're all shocked, but that's, but I mean, it's like Galaxy Express 39 is part of the Leiji-verse, and this actually is one of the other first animes I ever got to, was also in the Leiji-verse, because I was into Captain Harlock, which is also Leiji-verse. So they're all in the same universe. That's what he's talking about. Maytel Legend has never been as big of a character for me as Captain Harlock, for my personal opinion, but that's okay.
So if they had Captain Harlock episodes on HBO, I would have watched them. And of course, I'll stop sharing that screen and share a different one.
That's an extraordinarily good point.
I don't know if you could say that, though, because we had some majorly racist crap for a really long time. And I would argue that Animaniacs and Freakazoids skirted that line so well that they figured out how to get away with things.
But he's right. So part of what was happening in the 80s was we had the Comics Code. And the Comics Code was a big deal. And it locked all of our comics down. So we could not have major deaths.
Talking about comics, not specifically.
And so everybody was taking, our cartoons were extensions of comics at the time. So he's absolutely right. Nobody even thought that there was a market for adult cartoons. They didn't even think that existed.
Now we have American Dad.
Right. I mean, it's like
Guy.
Frank Miller made a change
Archer.
by dumping the Comics Code with The Dark Knight. And as soon as he did that, then he came out with Sin City, then it was 300, and the Comics Code was gone. That was the end of it.
Okay.
And finally, Image started putting out comics that were much more adult. And I mean, like Saga is insane. It's beautiful. I love Saga, but it's completely manga. It's just not manga style.
And that's very interesting because, like, I was reading maybe some more adult romance novels on the manga side
Mm-hmm.
than I was from American media, and maybe that's what developed my non-puritanical view on love.
Right. I was
Relationships.
completely off of American comics in about 1985 and went to manga and never looked back until like it was literally 2002 or 2003 before I finally started reading American comics again. So people had to teach me like who Wolverine was because I didn't know. You know, it was like I didn't know who the X-Men were. I didn't know any. I mean, I knew Superman, Batman, anybody who was golden and silver era. I was okay with, but I mean, X-Men I know is old, and before anybody starts saying, but X-Men was, yes, I know, but I had been reading those comics and it was all the same crap. So I was like, I'm done.
Troy is a horror fan.
Troy's a horror.
Yeah. As a horror fan and more of the like adult serial comics fan, because you've got The Boys and
they're superheroes
and Walking Dead and
but
some very like adult and dark and twisted comic books. When did you start seeing those come out?
Well, I was gonna mention about the same time that as you're seeing there, Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind, which I saw on HBO and fell in love with, and that was again before we knew what anime was called anime. It was a cartoon from Japan, is what we called it. About the same time, we also had Ralph Bakshi coming out with the sort of animated versions of The Hobbit and then Wizards. And those were violent enough that they weren't kids' cartoons, but they weren't Saturday morning either. They were stuff that came out. And then you also had heavy metal.
I was going to say, you're about to head for heavy metal, and I can tell.
Yep. So, what's heavy metal, though?
Few era animations of that time that I actually have a copy of. I love the animation in heavy metal. It is so incredible.
And you get so many different artists.
The whole thing's an acid trip. But that's okay. So it's 2001.
So what is it? Is it a compilation of comics on life or what?
For what, heavy metal?
Yeah. What's heavy metal?
It was a magazine back before the internet existed.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
It was a movie.
Can you tell who the millennial is?
All right.
Here, I'll find you one real quick. But it
Scrolls ended up on Disney Plus. Oh my God.
You could call it a comic book, but it was as thick as a magazine and had multiple stories in it. So it was an anthology. It was a science anthology.
Gotcha.
Eventually, they made the movie Heavy Metal, where they cherry picked some of the more popular stories and then animated them,
which was incredible. The animation was beautiful, stunning, but it was chock full of nudity and violence and death and all kinds of really weird crap, and then a Corvette that flew around.
They did that with The Matrix as well, and I liked the stories that they told, but they tried to show that to me in middle school, and I wasn't ready.
Oh, here, I'll grab the cover of the magazine that's actually from the movie as well.
Also, Andrew, if you are okay with your comments being posted on the screen, just say yes, and then Guy will do it.
Yeah,
I
didn't ask you, so I apologize. If you're okay with me putting you up on the screen.
You should also see that. So the big thing about Andrew is he's a big Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles fan, and he was just saying in the comic we
interviewed. We were in a group interview at DPCC one year that involved the creators of Ninja Turtles, and Andrew is right. That's what he said. The original Ninja Turtles was bloody and gory and all kinds.
I was actually there when it was first released. I can't make that picture any bigger. I don't know.
I was to say it's a very small picture.
Yeah, I don't know how to. You probably can't enhance it either over there. If I do that, does it do anything? Hey, look, there it goes. I can do it. I'm magical.
You're magic.
Oh wow!
So I found the one as closest to what I was wanted.
That armor is weak.
Yes, it is.
Oh, and she strips out of it like 12 times in the anime too. It's very funny.
So, but yeah, it was very much the male gaze. It was, what audience it was targeted for.
Oh yeah.
And it's but I was there.
Not past my rules, except that the animation is so pretty.
Yeah. But I'll go ahead and kill that. I was there for when Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was released, and I actually collected the first few of those, and because I was shocked, it was black and white. It was really cool looking artwork, and you have these mutated turtles, ninjas, killing people, and the humor was not the eating pizza and skateboarding and all of the cowabunga stuff. The humor was this was a ridiculous premise taken super seriously. So having turtles fighting ninjas to the death type thing was where the humor came from. It's like, it's such a stupid premise, but it's done so well. And then
as
premise, but it's it was really cool comic series. And then I forget who came along, but someone said, "Hey, here's a bucket of money. We want to buy the idea from you and do what we want with it." And then, of course, converted it. And I think that I don't remember the history very well, but I believe that drove a little bit of a wedge between the two artists because it was Laird and Eastman, I think were their names.
And we were with an interview with Eastman.
Oh, okay.
Call. And yeah, he talked about
he didn't want to do it. Yeah, one of them didn't want to do it. The other one did. They ended up doing it anyway.
Oh wow!
So it was a thing. We've got that interview somewhere, and I could figure out how to put that online once I figure out where it went. It's an audio
somewhere in the drive.
Oh, that was one of those all the media people were in one room type panel interview. I remember that now. Yeah, I think our engineer Kevin was running the camera for that.
Yeah, we didn't get a camera in that room. We didn't have a camera at the time, so that was the Tascam, and we had the Tascam on field mics. So it's brutally loud. Like it's got a lot of ground noise and everything like that. Because I couldn't get I didn't want to put the directional mics on it because I was afraid they were too far away, and so I was afraid I wouldn't catch it. So I just put it on directional mics and aimed the mics at them. And the ground mics on the Tascam are pretty good, but there's still lots of noise. Yeah. So, okay, guys. Well, we are at an hour and 2 minutes. We've wandered completely off topic. Nothing new for Geek Tank. But thank you for joining us this week. I think next week we are back to our Hauser game.
No.
Oh
no. So we'll be back here.
7th is the next Star Trek game. So next week we'll be back here with something.
We'll be back here next week. Same bad time, same bad channel, about 8 o'clock Mountain Time. If you want to join us, and as you have discovered, we have this cool ability now to put your things up on here like that.
Yay! I love Andrew's.
And just for David,
don't panic. It's definitely a thing.
Oh, no. I love you, David.
Oh man.
David's a buddy of mine. He's one of the RTG guys. So David just showed up. He's like, "Hi, I'm here." We're like, "Hi, David." We're closing the door.
Yeah, if you got here, you could always rewatch this as it saves it on Facebook, and you can start over.
Yep. So you can rewatch it and everything like that. But we're gonna go ahead and wrap up and see you guys next week.
Please be safe, guys. Stay healthy. Wash your hands. Wear your mask over your mouth and nose. Mouth and nose. If I see your noses, I'm coming.
What about head, shoulders, knees, and toes?
No.
Oh.
This is why we don't take you places.
Just please use your mask to cover your mouth and nose. I see so many people who have it just here. No. Don't wear it around your neck. Don't wear it on your head. Wear it over your mouth and nose, please.
You know, infectious disease is only going through the mouth.
Right. Okay, guys. We've wandered off track. We'll see you guys next week. I've been Guy.
I've been Troy.
I've been Chelsea.
This is Geek Tank.
Bye.